And now we're on to our last sauteed vegetable. This is one of my favorite sauteed vegetable combinations. It incorporates squash, zucchini that you can readily get at any market, banana peppers, to which my mother has grown me up ever since I was 5 of eating banana peppers. We're gonna do some red onion with this, extra virgin olive oil, and then also finishing with butter. The one key that I want to denote to everyone is that whenever you cook with butter, especially when you saute, you want it just to melt at the end. And so if you put it in at the beginning, it has the potential to burn. And when you have burnt butter throughout your vegetables, it's very, very easy to taste because most of your vegetables are actually water. So if you didn't know that, now you know. One thing we've done is actually cut the vegetables to about 1/4 of an inch all the way through, and we kept them round. The way that we can tell when the vegetable is done, whenever we do cook it, is that it'll be translucent all the way through. So first and foremost, we're going to use this red onion. We're going to slice it. We're going to be using a few of the techniques that are talked about in the book, which is going to be the pinch method of holding your knife, of pinching it just right here, and then letting the rest of your hand then grab on. It gives you more control and then also a little bit more precision whenever you do slice or dice. Using our tiger claw again, looks like you're grabbing a big softball and then pulling in. So we're going to slice right off the top. And then from here, I'm going to go slice right down the center because you want to keep that root end on. And now we're going to peel off the outside layer. And if you don't want to cry whenever you're slicing a red onion, a yellow onion, or a white onion, you have to make sure that you get the most bitter part out of the onion, and that's always in the center. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to choke up, just like you're choking up on a bat and t-ball. I'm going to choke up, and then this white, very, very white part, I'm going to go into it and just pull out. So now I'm going to discard that, and so now I have this left over. Seeing that we're going to be using sliced onions, I'm going to pull off the end root, and then I'm just going to slice going against the grain. If you can see the grain here, we're going against the grain. So just going through again with our tiger claw. And so now I have everything that I need, which is called mise en place. French means everything in its place. If you watch a cool movie, it might say something different and might also offer a cuss word into that. So very good movie, by the way. We're going to start off with our extra virgin olive oil, go in with our red onions again, a little bit of the banana peppers. Some people, especially my mom now, she doesn't like to have a lot of heat. And so gauge yourself. Smell the pepper. If it's very, very pungent and strong for your nostrils, add a little bit at a time. It's a trial and error game for yourself. But let's get cooking. Okay, so now we have our saucepan on. This is a non-stick. I love using non-stick saucepans. It's very easy to clean, but then also very easy to caramelize things, especially onions. So first and foremost, I'm checking the heat with the back side of my hand. Seeing that it is warm on the back side of my hand after 3 seconds, we're good to go. So now we're going to add extra virgin olive oil to the pan, 2 tablespoons. And now again, I want to showcase this. If you see the little bit of sheen, it looks like waves, a little water going through. This means that your oil is hot. For me, I like to make sure that all the oil is throughout the entire pan before I add anything. Okay, whenever you're sauteing something, it doesn't mean that you necessarily want to sear it. When you saute something, it's going at a medium-high heat or even a high heat, but you're moving it around so fast that everything is incorporating to itself flavor-wise, but also it's very, very hot. So all I'm going to do is let these onions cook for about 1 minute because we're not looking for any color because we do have the zucchini and squash that we're going to add to that. And I can really smell the pungency. And I would like to now add what we have is those banana peppers. Whenever you add a pepper to anything that's going to be hot, don't directly have your face over it. And then once we're looking at it and want to smell, it's more of a wafting technique. And so you'll pull your hand towards you because sometimes those peppers, the fumes can get into your eyes and then you'll start crying and then you'll start burning and it's just not good. So we just added a few peppers and I'm wafting the flavor. I can smell that it's very, very pungent already, and so I'm not gonna actually add any more of the peppers. We're already seeing a little bit of caramelization, and because sauteing goes very, very fast, so you gotta move. Now we're gonna go in with our squash and zucchini. The reason that it's popping right now is because squash and zucchini have a lot of water in it. Whenever we spoke earlier, you need to make sure that you toss all your ingredients flavor-wise to one another. So what I'm gonna do is, seeing that I just added my squash and zucchini, I'm gonna toss it so that now the oil coats your squash and zucchini. And now we're gonna let it cook. For myself, we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of salt and pepper. Same thing for the pepper. I'm going about 1.5 feet above everything. And this allows, as you can tell, whenever I do one grinding of the pepper, it allows it to have a bigger circle. If I went here, it'd be very, very concentrated. So always remember, whenever you're salt and peppering or spicing anything that you're cooking, make sure that's from a higher level. So I'll spin this. If you can tell here, this is the oil that's now on the outside of that squash. Looks very, very good, and now the oil is seeping into the squash and the zucchini while it cooks. You can smell a little bit of the pepper coming through, and then the best part is that we're gonna finish with melted butter. Oh, it's just gonna be great. All right, so now guys, we've been cooking this for about 2 to 3 minutes. I rotate every 30 seconds. I'll give it a little spin. If you cannot do the little flip, don't worry about it. You can start off with a spatula, go up under, and then flip over your vegetables. So what we're looking for is a little bit of that translucence. And if you see this, you see how it's now floppy, but you see how it's translucent. This is what you're going for to now pull the pan off the heat and then add your butter. Because one of the biggest things in cooking that you have to understand knowledge-wise is residual heat. So even though now I'm going to cut off everything, the pan is still hot. Everything in the pan is very, very hot. And so it's going to continue to cook for at least 2 to 3 minutes. And so now I'm going to pull the pan off of the heat. I'm going to add a pat of butter. And so this is a pat of butter. If you ask your grandmother what a pat of butter is, or your grandfather, they'll let you know. We're going to add 2 pats of butter. We're going to spin everything, and now we're just going to gently toss it, or if you would like, you can just flip it over. But we just want the butter to melt. We don't want to cook the butter, we're just melting the butter. And this is going to add a little bit of richness to the dish. Oh, and you can smell it as well. It smells wonderful. And again, I want to showcase the translucence and floppiness, because you want to have a little bit of integrity whenever you cook vegetables. As you can tell there, a toothiness. So where you can go through it with your tooth, but it's also soft enough to bite through it. And so now if you look at all this, we have peppers, onions, butter, oil, salt, and actually black pepper, cooked to perfection. We're using the residual heat, and now we're gonna plate, and then we're gonna eat some. And now we're gonna be plating. So one thing that I haven't talked about, whenever you plate, you wanna have height. And also, seeing that I have 2 utensils in here, it's probably gonna be a little bit cumbersome for myself to then maneuver everything. So whenever you're cooking with tongs, you can actually put them right there on your handle, and they'll get out of your way. So we're looking at this beautiful squash and zucchini. It's translucent. You can see the butter on the outside, especially of every one of them. Oh, it looks great. And so now I'm just forming it into a circle, and then I'm trying to make a little bit of what we call a skyscraper. You always never want to leave anything on the pan. Just like if you ever played sports, don't leave anything on the field. Put it right in there. I'm going to use my little tongue to get some stuff on top, get a little bit of height to make sure. Don't forget about that little guy. Put him right on top. But this is sauteed zucchini and squash. Has a little bit of pepper, so it's going to be a little spicy. Red onions for the pungency, and then we're finishing with butter, so then everything is just so much better with butter. So bon appetit.